So, Dobbo, you have just come off the Currie Cup, and I've hardly mentioned it, and it was a successful campaign for you. I'm always wary, and you know this, that you can never say this caused us to win or this caused us to lose. But were there any key lessons that you took out of these last 3 months where you go, sheesh, I never want to forget this, because I learned so much from what it did for me as a coach?
Yeah, I think, as you were part of it, I think there's a technical thing was about contact. It's just purely technical. That in rugby, traditionally, we don't do contact in the week because we want to preserve our bodies. But, we just had to train. If we're going to do it on Saturday, we had to train it.
Yeah.
And you had to take a big step backwards because sometimes I couldn't watch. If you watch two of your, there's Reynald Alstead, the guy was one stage almost a Springbok, probably the hardest guy in our forward, and we wanted to be harder up front. And there he did his ankle in a contact session, So you have to be brave about that. But I think the thing is you just know when a team gets into a state of flow. That and I thought we had it before the Lions game, which we actually ended up losing. We led for 73 minutes. But I'm still, even though we lost the game, I still think that we'd hit our state of flow then, and we dominated them up at Ellis Park for a hell of a long time, and then won the rest of the games. And that's so the key lesson in that state of flow is what I started the conversation with, is about you have to get everybody in that group onto believing into the cause, and that you have to be ruthless in saying that this guy doesn't, if it doesn't mean that much to him, if he's not going to think that cause, it's obvious and it's simplistic, then you're not going to. So I'm not saying we give up on that guy. It's how we sell it, whether it's an individual intervention from me, from an assistant coach, from you, or whatever the story is. How can we make you realize? Are we going to achieve anything if JC, and it's a random, of course, JC is completely into the cause.
Yeah.
JC, if this is not working, this doesn't mean that. You tell us right now, and how can we make it worthwhile for what would it take? Do you need to start? Do you need whatever it takes? So I think it's about getting that team. What I learned most thing was about was about getting the team in the state of flow, and then I suppose it's hard to explain again because you're standing here. If you think that we what I've learned probably the most this year about it is about the management group. Before I'd say, okay, we're a tight management group, we always go for pizza or something, or steak on a Friday night, and some of these guys are my mates and everything like that. But unless you get into that state of the management group where you can call each other up and say, hang on, this is not right, or I'm not happy with this, or they can say to me, I'm not happy with your work ethic here, or this approach to the breakdown. And that to me was a massive change this year, Tom, was that we had the thing of see something, say something, and that we're challenging each other as management group. And I think lots of management groups get in because they're mates and they're comfortable, or they know how each other work, and some of that's fine. But if you go win tournaments, the guys need to be on the edge. It needs to be that 18-hour day, not working for the sake of it, but I need to be able to say to a guy, listen, I don't think you're, and they need to be able to say to me, because there's sometimes some very underwhelming performances from me in the office. You know what I mean?
So you're saying the balance between we all get on and we actually need to call each other out on things that aren't great needs to be gotten right. And it needs to be actively worked on. Before, our traditional paradigm was we're working only with the team. We're going to make this a tight team. They're going to play for each other. These are the values, the culture, and everything's going nicely. We never look at ourselves as a management team, but that's changed in sport now. We're looking at if you throw in the medicals, the 12, 14-man team. Okay, the medicals don't have to be as involved, but still 6 or 7 coaches interacting with the players all the time. Yeah.
And there's going to be this complete trust that I know that if, and I'm taking random, Shimmy's going in with the forward, I know it's the same message that we're on the same page, and he's got to, and the other thing, at the same time, they have to feel completely empowered.
Yes.
Because you're not going to get the best out of a coach if he thinks, I'm just going through, I'm the clock for...
You micromanage.
That is so completely empowered, and then the spirit upwards and downwards, crosswards, diagonally, see something and say something. That's the biggest thing I learned.
See something, say something. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm not going to take up much more of your time. You are given a team in crisis where they're under a huge amount of pressure. And you've been asked to come in and help, consult. What's the first thing you do?
I literally speak. I would speak to each and every player, and just say, listen, how do you think? probably finding out, trying to find the thing where you think we're going, what's going quite well in this group. You know what I mean? I don't want to go there, and I don't. And you know, whether it's a coffee, a chat on the side, I'm not talking massive hours of one-on-ones, and then I take them off into some ridiculous environment, whether it's to walk up Table Mountain or to, you know, it doesn't have to be anything too physical, somewhere completely different, just to see to try and sense the personalities involved and see if there are cliques and these oaks, you know, that, cause I think that anything with rugby, as soon as we've got cliques, you're not going to win anything because it's a team sport, and you've got micro teams, or sub teams or subcultures, it doesn't work. So it would be about individuals speaking to them and taking them somewhere else where I can sort of assess where the group is, because you can soon see if a group's in ascendancy or descendancy, and if it's in descendancy you can see why, because some guys literally aren't talking to each other. That's the thing. I think the technical side you can do on the practice field, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so last thing, you are a leader in South African sports. What do you deeply wish to see more from leadership in South African sports?
Okay, so leadership you mean by administration, not coaches?
Yeah, I mean leadership in general. So it doesn't have to be administration or coaches, but it might be if there was a sort of swell towards a certain kind of way or being or doing. What would you want to see?
Yeah, maybe I haven't made this clear enough in the thing. Firstly, is our administration, you know, in terms of managing high performance teams, you know. Alan Jones had that outburst recently in Australia after the thing, and he said, got a mate who's the conductor for Sydney Philharmonic, and said, he said it's akin to him ringing me up and saying, Alan, we're trying to choose the first violinist, do you mind coming to help? He doesn't know a violin, and these are the guys appointing coaches, deciding on formats, you know. So I think administratively we've got a massive void. The second thing is that there has to be a divorce of administration or from high performance teams.
Okay.
That divorce has to happen.
Yes.
So that there's a straight, clear reporting line, whether it's the director of sport or that reports to a board, and there's no interference whatsoever.
Get people to do what they're good at.
There has to be a complete, because at the moment, if you're coaching over your shoulder like this, I'm not saying I am, but you're coaching like this, you're half the coach, quarter of the coach. You know, you've got to feel backed, empowered, that these are the results, it's done like a business, these are the key performance, KPIs, and that's that simple. The rest, up to you, go for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, nothing to do with transformation. You can say these are what we expect of you, transform. No problem. Stick to it or don't stick to it, we'll hold you accountable. And the second thing is which I think is to grow, and I must think of a better term of it, again, not because you're here, is that we have to understand we have to manage our athletes better. Our athletes are getting spat out too brutally, giving up, going overseas, getting injured, bailing much too early because of poor management. We are managing in the old school English public school system. Practice, play, select you, don't select you, on the names on the board, not on the board. We have got no understanding of where the guy's from, what his challenges are. We expect a guy from Castlesplay to walk into any high performance centre and compete with a guy who's come from Paulus and played SS schools, and then we know he's a quite player, off he goes. So I think our work on the softer side of professional sport is a massive work for us.
Cool. Dalbo, thanks so much. I've taken a lot of your time. I really appreciate it. And on to the next one.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for everything.
Thanks, Dalbo.